Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Hey, welcome to Transformation Tuesday over at Loving Me Before I Love You. Can y'all believe this year has literally ran, flew, drove on the train, it did all these things and went by so fast. We are in November right now, and it feels as though we got here overnight. But when we get into November, it's Thanksgiving. So everything is about having gratitude, and we're thankful for the things that we have experienced over the year. We're thankful for almost ending this one. And I think we should always talk about gratitude. I think when you live a life of gratitude, you live a life of abundance because you're able to look at things from a different perspective. You don't always look at what you don't have. You look at what you do have. You don't always look at the lack. You look at what came and what was possible. And a lot of times when you are so focused on what you don't have, it's very difficult to be grateful. So I want us to talk about how we cultivate gratitude. How do you live a life of gratefulness? And y'all know, I rarely do a show by myself, and today is no different. I actually have a guest, and this guest is amazing because she actually created a course. Okay? She created a course. I didn't create the course. She created a course, and it's called Gratitude to Gratefulness. And what better person to have talk about cultivating gratitude than her? Welcome to the show, Sharon.
Thank you for having me, Tammy. Really appreciate it. It's great to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here. This is going to be so much fun. I'm excited to be here. Mm-hmm. So much fun. So, when you hear, I'm going to start real simple. When you hear the word gratitude or you hear the word gratefulness, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, when I hear the word gratitude, gratitude is more of a program that people run. There is a little bit of a distinction between gratitude and gratefulness. So when you're young, you're expected to say thank you if someone opens the door, or express your thankfulness for things people do for you or things that they give you, or that type of thing. So gratitude is a program, whereas gratefulness is more of a state of being. It is just that staying in that feeling of thankfulness, of that feeling of you are so grateful for everything in your life, the good, the bad, everything. And just grateful to be where you are and who you're with. And so gratefulness is a feeling. It's a state of being for sure.
I do like the state of yeah, I do like the state of being part, because when I think about it, it's like forever grateful no matter the outcome, right? It's like when you drive down the street and you were 10 minutes late for whatever reason, but then you drive down the street and you see an accident and you're like, I'm grateful that I was late. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You immediately think that could have been me. Or instead of being mad that you're late or upset with yourself for, I don't know, not setting the timer, not setting the alarm, you can find the gratitude and the gratefulness behind the delay.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just being, like you said, a state of being. It's like it's a posture. That's what I wanted to get to. It is a posture. How do you posture yourself on the day to day? And to me, gratefulness is a posture. It's a posture of no matter what.
Absolutely. I totally agree. When you meet most people, hey, how are you today? Oh, life is good. And then they'll tell you 2 or 3 things that went wrong in their day, about things that, this happened and that happened, and now I have to do this and, whatever. But they never tell you, do you know what happened to me today? This happened and that happened. Like all the wonderful things, or even the little things that, I was driving to work and the sun came out and I had my sunroof open and I could just feel the warmth of the sun shining through, the roof of my car. And, or just little things like that. We're so programmed to not to brag. We don't want to brag, right? Or say that, my life is better than yours. We're so programmed to that we immediately say, got stuck at a red light, so I was 10 minutes late for work and spilled my coffee on myself. And, as opposed to, I was stuck at a red light. It gave me an extra 5 minutes to prepare for the meeting that I was going into. I spilled coffee on myself, but you know what? That's okay. Somebody at work had a Tide stick and we, got it out of my tie or whatever.
What?
Yeah. So
that's actually really cool because it's more perspective. It's like, it's a perspective because those are the same exact things happened. You know what I mean? But how you viewed it changed how you told the story.
Yes. Because your perception changes how you feel inside. So if you're looking at something through disappointment, frustration, anger, then you're going to exude that. And it's going to affect, how you're speaking to others. But if you're looking at something as, darn it, I wish it didn't happen, but hey, this saved the day, or I was able to do this, or I got that extra 5 minutes, I prepared, and I said some things I wouldn't have normally said because of that extra time and getting stuck at that red light. So, and then that's
really cool.
Lifts your frequency, because gratitude is one of the highest frequencies on the frequency scale. It's up around 900, and God consciousness is at 1,000. So wisdom is at 780. So gratitude is one of the highest vibrational feelings that you can have. And gratefulness is just a little bit above that, but because
that's
that
awesome.
Gratitude turns into thankfulness and gratefulness and becomes your state of being, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I teach people to do gratitude journals. When you are learning how to accept yourself, you have to start with a gratitude journal. And people always ask me, why? Why do I start clients off with gratitude journals when they are learning to have self-acceptance in their self-awareness phase? And the reason I do it is because if you can be thankful for who you are, and where you've been, and where you're going, you can change how you get there. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be okay with the right now. You got to be okay with the past. You got to be okay with what you want the future to be, and being grateful for it sends that message louder than acknowledging that it exists.
Some of my clients, I'll ask them to, or get them as homework, get a little jar. Doesn't matter what it is. Can be a mason jar, can be anything. And when you notice something positive in your life, write it down on a piece of paper. Doesn't matter. It can be a napkin. It can be anything. Write it down. Put it in the jar. And every day, you start off with 3, and then, like, depending on their situation, you start off with 3 and then 5 and then 10. And so every day now they're looking for positive things to write down. And when you have a bad day, when you go home from work and you feel like you're frustrated, you're angry, open up that jar and start taking slips of paper out and reading those little moments of gratefulness and realizing all the things that you have to be grateful for.
Yes, absolutely. So you do
Mhm.
yours in a jar, I do mine's in a book, because I do tell them to go back and look at it.
Yes.
Because a lot of times when learning how to be grateful, you don't, if you're not a grateful person, like if that's your thing, it's like, I'm not a grateful person by nature. I just send, I say thank you, right? But if you're like, oh, I don't think about things from a gratitude perspective, I just, live life. And you say, oh, start a gratitude journal or start a gratitude jar. And you're like, well, I don't know what I'm grateful for or what's good or, how do I start? So you always tell people to surface stuff, right? So you say, how about just write down, I'm grateful I woke up. Like today I didn't
Yes.
have to wake up. So let's just start there. And then, or
Correct.
if I have kids, I'm grateful for my kids and I'm grateful for my parents and I'm grateful for the job and I'm great. Like those are what I call surface things,
Yes.
right? But
Do you
it
have
gets you
socks?
started.
Grateful that my socks are keeping my feet clean. Or not clean, sorry, warm. I'm grateful that my socks are keeping my feet warm, or, just anything. Literally, we have so much to be grateful for. And as we look around and start realizing all the little things, then that allows us to build momentum and look for larger and larger and larger things. And as we increase our emotional and psychological vibration, we're now attracting all more things that we can be grateful for. And we're
Yes,
creating a reality that is positive and happy and loving and nurturing. And it's just that shift in mindset that now you're
yeah,
attracting it. You don't have to do anything to get there. Just be.
absolutely. Absolutely. So what inspired you to create the gratitude to gratefulness course?
Well, actually, I'm working with, I was doing some work for a world renowned pattern interrupter. Um, she is a master energy shifter. So what she does is she shifts and uplifts your energy, and she works with your galactic teams and destroys negative energy, clears your slate, so to speak. So which allows you to start creating with less or no emotional baggage, right? So she shifts your energies, brings in some positivity. It's the transformation in people's lives has been amazing. And one of the things she likes to talk about is how gratitude and gratefulness play a large part in that. And that when people can start, you know, examining what they're grateful for, that starts that snowballs and creates a wonderful life. So she spoke to myself and another lady. Then we worked together and created the Gratitude Gratefulness course. So we're not quite sure when it's going to be available to the public yet, but I will be posting it on my website once we start teaching it. And yeah, so the inspiration was being asked to do it.
Wow, today's episode is a good one. I know you're enjoying it, and we'll get back to it shortly. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that Tammy would love for you to share any questions, comments, or topic ideas you have with her. All you have to do is send them to her in an email to podcast@IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
Awesome. So like when I know we've been talking like how gratitude shifts you, right? We talk about like the journal, the mason jar, or what have you. Let's talk about like when people feel the shift. You know what I mean? Like what's that phase between I'm doing this because I was told to do it, and then I see a change in me. So the shift is happening to where I'm not just doing it because I was told to do, I'm doing it because it's natural and I want to do it and it's helping me and it's bringing X, Y, and Z into my life. Let's talk about that shift that they experience and what they should be looking for when that shift happens.
Well, I think one of the first things they notice is that when the shift starts happening, they have to give themselves permission to be happy. And that for some people is a huge stumbling block because they have been programmed to see the negative and talk about the negative, and then when they start purposely, intentionally looking for positivity and being thankful for it, it shifts their whole, it throws them for a little bit of a loop. They have to stand back and say, whoa, what is this that I'm feeling? What's happening? So it takes them a minute to get used to feeling that appreciation and that gratefulness for all the positive things in their life. And it teaches them to become mindful versus having a mind full, right? They're mindful positivity as opposed to, I got to drop the dry cleaning off. I've got to go, go to the school, pick up the kids. I've got to, get groceries. I've got to drop someone off at Little League. There's soccer practice. There's, a million things. You've got your mind full. Whereas practicing gratitude teaches you to be present in the moment and become mindful of the things that you're appreciating and learning to love and embrace. So there's a lot of layers to the transition. There can be a lot of layers to the transition for people. But they start noticing that they're happier, and that when they're happier, they're exuding happiness. And so they're vibrating at a higher frequency. They're attracting others. When you, yourself, when you go into, let's say, you stop at Starbucks and you go in for a coffee, and if you're kind of grumpy, you'll kind of encounter people who are reflecting that. But if you go in there with, hey, this is a great day, life is good, sun is shining, and I have enough time to stop for a coffee on my way to work, woo, this is like, I am happening, life is great. And you will encounter people, they'll reflect that back to you. So then they realize that, wow, there's a lot of happy people out there, and this is great. And it's a snowball effect. Yeah. And it just keeps getting better and better. And then they learn that it's okay. They give themselves permission and they start to embrace it. And that's where the real beauty happens.
Yeah. You mentioned how the gratefulness and the gratitude leads to happiness. A lot of times we say happiness is built on happenings, right? And that gratitude attitude is a happening. It's something that's literally happening. Like, I think being grateful for things is a present tense action and not just a feeling.
Yes. Being mindful in the present.
Right. Which leads to the happiness that is a feeling. Right. So it's like you were mentioning earlier, the difference between having gratitude and being grateful. Like, there are two different things, but we tend to make them one because, it's like different formations of a word, but it's still, it's like the difference between a noun and a verb. Like, are you describing something that's actually moving or doing something, or are you saying what is? And I think that is like how the two of them kind of come together. But your happiness is directly attached to your gratefulness. And I just think, like, in every area of our lives, be it in relationships, be it at work, be it, dealing with friends, like, your level of gratitude and gratefulness has a direct correlation to how happy you are.
Absolutely.
If you're constantly complaining, if you constantly have the negativity going, your happiness level is like low, or it's like, I'm only happy or exuding the happiness when things are going well. And behind that thing going well is a gratefulness that is good. So I was like, I'm happy. But it's so silent. It's almost like the silent partner in a deal.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to describe it.
Yeah. It's a silent partner, because when you really think about it, it's like, I mean, and I have never thought about it to this extent until, talking to you right now. And that's why I'm like, and pause, because I'm really conceptualizing the whole thing in the moment, like in real time. Y'all are like literally listening to me process this thing out loud. But like, real talk, it really is like, it's a silent partner, because you don't honestly talk about it in the same sentence of saying I'm happy. You say I'm happy and you say, oh, what are you happy about? Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. So-and-so came through and did this. But in essence, you're saying, I'm grateful that this happened. Like, I have this, you know what I mean? Like, it's a silent partner. It's the thankfulness. It's the attitude of appreciation that says, yes, I was waiting on this to come through. It came through. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
When in actuality, you're saying, I was waiting on this to come through, so I'm grateful. I'm excited. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a silent partner.
For sure. Yeah. It's unacknowledged, I guess, a lot of the time. That's a really good point, that gratefulness is really unacknowledged.
Yeah. It's a silent partner.
Yeah.
But we're trying to literally put a name to it. It's like, no, say it. Because what I'm really getting is that when you talk about frequency, and we all talk about energy levels, we all talk about, how to exchange energy with people and things, and, like being on high vibrations versus low vibrations. If you're vibrating low, you get low stuff. You vibrate high, you get high things. So it's like, wait a minute. If gratitude is up there on the high side of life,
that's why
and I silence it because it's a silent partner, because I'm not acknowledging it, then I'm really shortchanging my vibrations.
And your potential, your opportunities.
Yes.
Because like you say, you're vibrating low, you're drawing the lower vibrational energy to you. And when you live in a state of gratefulness or gratitude, you're vibrating really high. And that's what you're attracting to. You're attracting positive experiences, positive people, and things that you couldn't even have conceived of. You're just attracting with your energetic vibration. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful way to live. And as we discussed in the beginning, it's definitely a state of being.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really does affect your mental health. Like, we can be going through things. I think about health scares. I think about grief, losing people, and it's like the real negative stuff that we know, and I don't want to call it fully negative, but we know it's of not anyone's choice, right? It's not something, if I could choose if somebody I love lived or died, there's no way in the world I'm going to choose for them to die. Right. But death happens. It's inevitable. It's, to be expected. And it's like, how can I be grateful for it? How can I be, if I'm being in a state of being of gratitude and gratefulness all the time, because that's the vibration I want to stay at. How do I acknowledge, accept, and say, I'm grateful for this? I'm, and it's like, oh, just say I'm grateful for their life. I'm not glad that they're gone. I'm not excited that, that they have left me, but I'm just grateful that they were here. I'm grateful to have known them. I'm grateful to have had experiences with them, to have memories now that they're gone. And it's like you were saying earlier, it's like the perception of the thing that you experience, good, bad, or indifferent, should always be positive. Mm-hmm. Like, that is the ultimate. Like, that to me is the ultimate message. And I used to say when I was younger, when I first started teaching gratitude and stuff like that, and, people would ask me, how could I be grateful if I were assaulted? How could I be grateful if, all of these things happen to me that are negative? And it's like, the first thing to be grateful for is that you lived through it. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that you're here to tell the story.
And if they can't find gratefulness in the event itself, and like if you're assaulted, or if something horrific happens to you, you don't necessarily need to find gratefulness in that act itself. But like you say, be grateful that you survived in your life. Be grateful for all the lessons that you learned after. Be grateful for the support you received during. I mean, there are things to be grateful for, not necessarily the event.
The event.
Not necessarily the event itself.
Yeah.
And once, a few years pass and you get some time and distance between that event, you can look back on it and say, that was the catalyst that brought these changes into my life. That was the catalyst that brought these experiences. And I'm grateful for those. So therefore, I am grateful.
I have to be grateful for it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And I say that and people think I'm like bonkers crazy. And they're like, there's no way I'm going to be saying I'm grateful for that happened to me. And I said, yes, you will. Because no matter what you say or do, that thing still caused you to be who you are today.
It's a life-changing experience.
It affected you in a way that it shaped you to be who you are today. Now,
yes.
If you don't like who you are today because of that thing, then you still be grateful because therefore you have the opportunity to say, you know what, I don't like this and I can change it. Yes, this happened and it caused me to be bitter. Yes, this happened and it caused me to be untrustworthy to people. Yes, this happened and it caused all of these things. But you know what? I now today recognize that thing caused these things that I can change for tomorrow. So I'm going to be grateful that it happened because now I can see something different about me.
Absolutely. Like I tell people that breast cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me. It changed my life. And I am so grateful for that diagnosis, the 3 times that I've had it, and the changes that I went through and the experiences that I had. And very grateful for it. And people look at me like I'm absolutely Looney Tunes. Like, oh my God, she has some problems. Don't turn your back on her because she's got problems. Yeah. She's got issues. What's going on in there? But it's just the attitude, like you say, the attitude of gratitude.
Yeah. And it actually works. It actually works. If you're feeling down, sad, depressed, if you can just start being grateful. I listen to a song called Gratefulness, and it's just like when I'm listening to it, whatever I'm experiencing in that moment no longer matters because the other things that I can be grateful for overshadow that current moment because there's always something greater. There's always something greater. There's always something more than your current right now. And you can, it doesn't matter if you're at your lowest of low. It doesn't there's always something greater. It's like, well, what can be greater if I don't have money? I'm, without a partner. So-and-so's mad at me. I don't like my job. And you find all of these negative things. Those negative things are just circumstantial.
Yes.
They're not solid and final. The only thing solid and final is you. So what you do next is what matters.
Yep. And that's not the flip side of that is too. We've talked a lot about gratefulness and gratitude, but the flip side of that is part of self-love and part of taking care of yourself and allowing yourself is to have some moments. Like you can have a day where you live in your sweatpants and eat junk food and, wallow in whatever problem you're having. You can do that. It's not, the trick is not to do it every day. Allow yourself that luxury sometimes. Sometimes we need to put on a sad movie and just cry and, get it out of our system, work through some things. But the key, the ticket is don't dwell it. Don't live there. Don't live
stay
there. Give yourself an hour, give yourself 2 hours, and then put on your big girl panties, put that smile on and get your gratitude journal and look at all the things you have to be grateful for and get back on it and live in that in that amazing feeling of gratitude, gratefulness. Like, it just feels so good. It feels so good
Yeah.
every day to think about all the wonderful things that are happening in your life. And we've all had things where we could say, well, that was a turning point, and that's why I'm bitter today. That's why I'm angry today. Hell, I lived with a narcissist for 30 years. There was a lot of shit in there that I could have been mad about, but
Yeah.
or resentful of for the rest of my life. But no, he was one of the most beautiful things somebody's ever said to me was, narcissists are put in our life, or challenging situations are put in our life for us to learn and grow. And without that, we wouldn't be the people we are today. We wouldn't have the appreciation for overcoming those experiences. So all I can think about now is how much I appreciate him and all the things that we went through, because that really changed my life. It changed my life on so many levels. It got me into spirituality. It got me into appreciation, into gratitude, into, helping others, and learning to love myself, because nobody else did at the time, or that's what it felt like. Right. So yeah, it was an amazing experience retrospectively, when I can look back at it in retrospect. But did I enjoy it at the time? No. But am I thankful for it now? Absolutely.
Right.
Every bit of it. 100%.
Right. And I think a lot of times, like, we think that being grateful always means being okay with it.
Right.
And it's not necessarily that we're saying you're okay with it. It's more so saying, you know what? It could be worse. It's like, I'm glad it's what it is. You know what I mean? I don't like it, but it could be worse.
Absolutely.
And then the things that you're like super ecstatic about is like hip hip hooray, right? So there's definitely multiple ends of the spectrum. You got your amazing side of gratitude of like, oh, yippity doo, everything's amazing. And then you got the other side that everything is horrible, but it could be worse. And so I'm just glad that it is what it is versus what it could be. And I think a lot of times we always feel like our thing is the worst thing. And I always share this story because I always want people to understand that your worst thing is worse for you and not just worse in general. And a lot of times we think that our thing is like worse than everybody else until you see somebody else go through something a little worse than you. And the story that I always like to tell is like, there's a story where, a guy is talking to God and he's like, hey, why you give me this heavy cross to bear? Because God says you will bear your own cross, right? And the guy's like, man, why you give me this heavy cross to bear? You could have gave me something a little smaller, a little lighter, like, you tripping. And God said, oh, would you like to choose your own cross? He said, yeah, I would do a better job. Yes, absolutely. Let me choose my own cross. And so God says, okay, cool. Let's go down, it's like taking him to the store and let him pick out what he wants, type of a thing. So he goes into this hallway with a ton of crosses, and he's going through them, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, not this one. This wood a little too thick. That means that's gonna be a little heavy. So no, let's go down to this one. Oh man, this one a little long. That means it's gonna be dragging. I ain't that tall. It's gonna drag. No, I don't want that one either. He goes to another one. He's like, this kind of thick and tall. Like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. He keep going, goes to a few more. He has a different complaint about each one. Then he gets to this last one. He's like, oh, no, I can take this one right here. It's like perfect size. Don't look too heavy. Look like it can handle it. And God said, oh, for real? You sure? You sure that's the one you want? He like, yeah. It fits me perfectly. Look, my shoulders, it's not going to be too hard to carry. It's short enough. The wood ain't that thick. Yeah, this is perfect. Let me, that's the one. God says, great. This is the same one you just put down. So a lot of times you have what's for you. You know what I mean? And it can look bad. It can look a lot. It can look too much. when you sitting in it. But if you was to go try to pick up somebody else's, you couldn't handle that either. So it's like, whatever you've been given, be grateful that it's for you. You may not understand it all. You may not like it all, but the gratitude behind it is what's most important. That it ain't as bad as it could be. And if you want to make it different and better, you can. The power is within you to make the change.
Absolutely. And by embracing the challenges and obstacles in your life, instead of when you push them away, more come. When you push something away in your life, go, nope, I don't want that. I don't want that. That's what you're inviting. When you embrace it and figure out how to overcome it or learn from it, and that challenge passes, the next time something like that comes up in your life, you're like, no problem. I got this. I've already experienced that. We're good. And you have a sense of gratefulness for it because you know you can handle whatever comes up in your life. You know that you can overcome any challenges and obstacles because you've been there, you've done it. It might not be the exact same circumstance, but you know that you can handle it and you're a better person for it. And then you see, like you say, you see someone else who's going through an even worse struggle, a worse challenge, and you think to yourself, but by the grace of God, there go I. So you're grateful for the cross that you have to bear, and grateful for the fact that you're not having to struggle with theirs.
Yeah,
there's a lot to be grateful for.
Exactly. And I think that if we ever take that posture and take that posture seriously, it would make us better people. It would make us better people. We would interact better with other people. We would see people differently. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times we see people through our pain versus seeing them through the lens of gratitude that they are who they are, that they, you don't know what their lives are. You don't know what they've experienced. And so we shouldn't really interact with people from a place of pain,
Exactly. And sometimes when we're in a place of pain, we see someone who is experiencing amazing things and just living their life and they're happy. And then we become resentful, right? Yeah. We can have that little bit of resentment creep in because, oh, look at them. They have a lot of money. They're doing whatever they want. And here I am struggling to make ends meet. I'm, working 2 jobs. I work all the time. I don't have time for anything else. And even if I do have time, I can't afford it anyway. And we get into that rut, that mindset. But if we can just see, like, be happy for other people. Like, I am so happy for them. They have money. They are traveling and they're living their life and good for them. That's amazing. And you know what? When I pay off this debt, I'm going to go down to 1 job. I'm going to have time in my life. And I'm starting to give myself half an hour every day where I can practice some gratitude or watch a funny show or do whatever makes your heart sing for that half an hour a day. Happiness doesn't have to cost money.
No.
Or I'm going to call up my bestie on the phone and just have a gap session or whatever the case may be, and give yourself permission to be happy for that little chunk of time every day. And then expand upon that. And as you expand upon that, it'll become your favorite part of the day, and you'll look so forward to it every day. Yeah. And then you'll just incorporate more and more, and you'll realize that the negativity is falling away. And through that, has your situation changed a lot? Not a lot, but it's beginning to shift because your mindset's shifting. And then amazing opportunities will come to you. And before you know it, you're looking around and the life you had 6 months ago is not even close to the life that you're living now.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. That's like amazing. But I just want you to tell the people, give them, we've given them a lot of reasons of why they should be grateful and why they should have an attitude of gratitude. But They're going to be somebody sitting down saying, there's no way I can do that right now. There's no way I can be grateful for this space that I'm in. Give some tips on how to get to a space of gratitude while you're stuck in a space of uncertainty.
Well, you know, your gratitude journal is a really great place to start. That's an amazing tool to just write down, and you can have a little wee notebook that you just take with you places. And so when you're sitting at that red light, when you're whatever happens that makes you happy, you've got that little notebook with you, and you just write it down. The other thing is, when you're angry and upset, ask yourself why. Why am I choosing to be angry and upset and resentful at this situation? And then you think, okay, well, because I don't have any money. Okay, why does that upset you? Because I can't go out with my friends. They're going out and doing these things and I can't go. Why is it? Can you see your friends in any other circumstance without spending money? Well, yes, I can go over and have coffee with them. Or I can meet them in the park and go for a walk. Or I can, okay, so let's be thankful that you can meet your friends in the park and go for a walk, or that you can meet your friends, and go for a coffee in Starbucks, or you can, go over to your friend's house and have dinner. And can you take something to that dinner? Yes, I can bring a salad. I can bring dessert. I can bring, whatever it is. Well, be thankful that you have the ability to do that. Do you have children? Yes. Do your friends have children? Yes. Do your children play? Yes. Well, I can take my children over for a play date. Now, that's another thing to be grateful for. Or in my case, neither our children are grown and gone, so we can just sit and have a glass of wine and chit chat. We don't have to go out and spend a lot of money to enjoy each other's company. So drill down to what's really making you unhappy and how you can flip that script.
Yes.
Ask, what's this teaching me? Or is there a hidden blessing here? Or what can I get down to where I can see the goodness in this situation, where I can see the positivity? And sometimes it's a deep dive. Sometimes you have to keep drilling for oil, but it's there and you'll find it.
Yeah.
I've been in situations where I didn't want to be happy. I was angry and angry and angry at the world. And then one day I just couldn't do it anymore. I didn't know what to do. And I went online and I took a 1 hour course and met a lady who was doing spirituality. She asked for volunteers at the end to help her with some administrative work. I volunteered, and I didn't know how I was going to do it because I was working a couple of jobs and I had no time. But I thought, no, I want to do this because her talk was so inspiring. And so I started volunteering for her like an hour a week. And then it went to 2 hours a week. And then it went to 3 hours a week. And whenever she had a webinar or something it was free because I had no money at the time. So I always clicked on the free ones. And I started feeling a happy anticipation for when she was going to have a course. And for, even if it was a half-hour webinar or whatever the case may be, any opportunity to be in her vicinity, in her energy field, uplifted mine. And that was one thing I could be grateful for, and I got it for free. I didn't have to leave my house. It was amazing. And then I just started expanding from there. What else can I be grateful for? What else can I do? And started volunteering and learning a lot more about myself, the world around me, vibrational frequency, and how I interact with others and how I see myself and how it's okay. And that's some people who are angry all the time or upset or frustrated. They feel like they can't offer themselves self-love. They can't put themselves first. They're very resentful because they feel they can't. And when they give themselves permission to, even if it's a half an hour a day or an hour a week or whatever the case may be, start small and give yourself that ability to experience happiness for whatever period of time that you can allow, and then just slowly build on that. That's one of the great ways to start for sure.
I agree. And I think one thing that you did mention that was super important is acknowledge the fact that you're in the space that you're in from the standpoint of, I don't want to change. Like being truthful with yourself is key. No matter what state you're in, happy, unhappy, angry, mad, joyful, frustrated, be honest with who you are and where you are in order to be able to change. So Sharon, thank you so much for coming and sharing your wonderful gratitude and gratefulness tips and expertise. I'm going to have you back because, you know, we connect well, and we're going to, come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about how you move from gratitude to giving back. Once you're so grateful and once you're able to be in a space of gratitude, you tend to give back because it's like you want other people to be in that same space. So you guys come back next week and we're going to talk back with Sharon, and we're going to talk about how giving back is also an act of service and gratitude. Remember,
thank you so
love
much
yourself.
for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited that you joined us. But you guys remember, love yourself so much. The love from others is a bonus, and we will see you next week.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you'd like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.